The flight plan. There's sections in the Jeppesen Student Pilot Route Manual which explain all the items of the flight plan. This is the standard ICAO flight plan form. When completing an ATC flight plan for a flight commencing under IFR but possibly changing to VFR, the letters entered in item 8 would be Y. In the ATC flight plan item 10, standard equipment is considered to be VHF RTF, ADF, VOR and ILS. In the ATC flight plan item 13, in a flight plan submitted before departure, the departure time entered is the estimated off-block time. In the ATC flight plan item 15, for a flight along a designated route, where the departure aerodrome is not on or connected to that route, the letters DCT should be entered direct, followed by the point of joining the ATS route. In the ATC flight plan item 7, for a radio-equipped aircraft, the identifier must always be the RTF call sign to be used. In the ATC flight plan item 15, it is necessary to enter any point at which a change of cruising speed takes place. For this purpose, a change of speed is defined as 5% TAS or 0.01 Mach or more. In the ATC flight plan item 15, when entering a route for which standard departure, SID, and standard arrival STAR procedures exist, both should be entered in the ATC plan where appropriate. In an ATC flight plan item 15, in order to define a position as a bearing and distance from a VOR, the group of figures should consist of VOR ident, magnetic bearing and distance in nautical miles. In an ATC flight plan item 15 route, in terms of latitude and longitude, a significant point at 41 degrees 35 minutes north, 4 degrees 15 minutes east should be entered as 4135N 00415E. Prior to an IFR flight, when filling in the ATC flight plan, the time information which should be entered in box 16, total estimated time, is the time elapsed from takeoff until reaching the initial approach fix of the destination aerodrome. In an ATC flight plan item 15 route, a cruising pressure altitude of 32,000 feet would be entered as F320. When an ATC flight plan is submitted for a flight outside designated ATS routes, points included in item 15 route should not normally be at intervals of more than 30 minutes flying time or 370 kilometers. In the ATC flight plan item 15, a cruising speed of 470 knots will be entered as N0470. When completing an ATC flight plan, an elapsed time, item 16, of 1 hour 55 minutes should be entered as 0155. An aircraft plans to depart London at 10 o'clock UTC and arrive at Munich, Echo Delta Delta Mike, at 12:15 UTC. In the ATC flight plan item 16, destination/EET, it should be entered with Echo Delta Delta Mike 0215. In the ATS flight plan for a non-scheduled flight, which of the following letters should be entered in item 8, type of flight? It's N. An aircraft has a maximum certificated takeoff mass of 137,000 kilograms, but is operating at a takeoff mass of 135,000 kilograms. In item 9 of the ATC flight plan, its wake turbulence category is heavy H. When completing item 9 of the ATC flight plan, if there is no appropriate aircraft designator, the following should be entered: ZZZZ, followed by an entry in item 18. Item 9 of the ATC flight plan includes number and type of aircraft. In this case, number means the number of aircraft flying in a group. In the ATC flight plan, item 19, emergency and survival equipment carried on the flight should be indicated by crossing out the box relevant to any equipment not carried. In the ATC flight plan, item 19, if the number of passengers to be carried is not known when the plan is ready for filing, TBN, to be notified, may be entered in the relevant box. Refer to the Student Pilot Route Manual ATC section. In the event that CellCal is prescribed by an appropriate authority, in which section of the ATC flight plan will the CellCal code be entered? Its other information. A current flight plan is a filed flight plan with amendments and clearance included. When completing an ATC flight plan for a European destination, clock times are to be expressed in UTC. In case of air traffic flow management, the flight plan should be filed at least 3 hours in advance of the estimated off-block time. If a repetitive flight plan needs to be changed on the day, then it must be cancelled for that day and a specific flight plan has to be filed for any rerouting. For a repetitive ATC flight plan to be used, flights must take place on a regular basis on at least 10 occasions.